Hi everyone, welcome back to JPWHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're all doing well. As always, guys, this video is the live weekly chat, 7 o'clock Wednesday evening across the UK and the rest of the world at 7 PM, live and exclusive on JPWHU TV. Not really sure why I said exclusive then. But anyway, as always, guys, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website, where you can purchase some very nice retro gear, guys, as you can see from the icon that's up here. Along with Admiral and Umbro, West Ham, Claret and Blue, track jackets, polo shirts, sweatshirts and t-shirts. So any purchase you make through the link in the description below, the channel commission that we would normally be getting, I'll be sending directly to Iron Supporting Food Banks, the charity in the Newham area that are helping those that are in a very, very difficult time, especially in this time of year as well, basically relying on food banks. So guys, thank you very, very much for your time. It's always great to talk to you guys as always. Let's see who's about. Rick's in. Good evening, mate. Andy, Milesy, JP, how you doing, sir? I'm doing fine, thank you much, mate. I hope you're all right. Jonathan Dagg, welcome back, mate. Good to see you again. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing okay as well. So we've had a few more subscribers over the last couple of days, maybe because I've been on the Three Hammers for the last two live broadcasts, barring their podcast today. So for those that are watching that are new to the channel, basically what this is, as the intro video was showing, that this is an open Q&A where I talk to you about stuff, you guys talk to each other about what we're talking about, and also talk to me. You ask me anything, I'll ask you anything, but we mostly start the broadcast off with talking about what's happened over the last 7 days. Now, there's not really a huge amount of non-West Ham stuff to talk about, so we'll obviously have to try and bring that into the conversation as and when it goes. But first and foremost, guys, as you probably heard over the last few days, there's been a new variant discovered and of COVID, but at the same point, it just proves that what I've been saying for the good few months now, ever since we started doing the daily live chats before they de-evolved, I should say, into the weekly live chat, is the fact that we're always going to see different variances the entire time. We genuinely are. If in the coming months and the coming years, of course. Now, at the same point, there was an article that went up on the BBC News which was completely right, and again is something I've been saying for a long time, that we need to get used to having this around, not try and fight it. After all, guys, in a month's time, it's going to be a year for the majority, if not all of us, working from home. It's going to be 12 months in just under 4 weeks' time. That's scary. That is scary, that how long the last year has gone. Not so much in terms of all the good things that have come out of COVID, but obviously the bad things are obviously still do outweigh the bad. Sorry, the bad things outweigh the good, I should say. Guys, the good things for me personally is I've been able to interact with you guys on a regular basis and keep this social conversation going for 25 weeks. We're almost 6 months into doing it practically weekly. It's where are we? It's 10 months since I started doing it on the weekly. Was it 10 months? 9 months, sorry. 9 months since 10 months since I'd started doing the daily live chats as well. So, yeah, it's interesting. John asks, did you watch the Toon game the other night? I didn't, mate, to be honest with you. I was too busy talking to other people straight after that. I was talking to my uncle, was messaging a few of my Hammers mates. It was I didn't get a chance to watch the game straight afterwards. I know, John, I said I would do, but a 2-0 isn't that bad beating from Chelsea, mate, to be honest with you. It really isn't that bad. You asked me if it was going to be anything from the Toon, and I said I couldn't see it, and unfortunately I was right. They're both very strong sides from both Chelsea and Newcastle's point of view, but as you say, John, crap game. Gary, welcome, mate. Hope you're all right. Good to see you. And as a result of things, it was just one of those. It was inevitable, John. It was inevitable that you guys were going to get beat by Chelsea, which is a shame though. But it's not being disrespectful to the Toon in any shape or form, but it's like when we play sides like we do, when we play Liverpool and Chelsea and Arsenal and all that sort of stuff. It's 3 points. It's an open game. It's a bonus game, I should say. It's a bonus game. If you get something out of it, as long as you play well, that I'm sure you'd be happy. John says going down at this point. I don't think so, mate. I generally don't. I know why you're worried about it. Yeah, let's have a look. Hang on. Let's just have a quick goosey, shall we? Let's have a look at the tables. Just to see where so you are. Is Tony coming on tonight? Who's Tony? I mean, Newcastle 6 points clear with 14 games to go. You got Fulham, West Brom, and Sheffield United. Now, two of those three are guaranteed to be going down this season. Gary, you're absolutely right. It asks, who do you think will go down? Isn't it nice we don't have to worry for a change? It is nice to be worried, to be very secure. We're not going to finish where we are. Guaranteed, we're not going to finish where we are this season. But yeah, I do genuinely think that at least two of the three are going down, as I've just said, Gary. Possibly Brighton could get sucked into it. I think the Toon are going to be all right. I genuinely do, but you never know. We've got 14 games to go. I wouldn't worry too much yet, John, because as I say, mate, we've got 14 games left of the season, and yeah, I wouldn't just take it a game at a time. Generally take it a game at a time. But he says he hopes Fulham goes down. I've got a soft spot for Fulham, mate. I genuinely do. But yeah, I don't want them to go down, but it looks like it's certainly on the cards. But this is the Premier League, and this is football, and anything can happen. This is the strange thing. Now, just sticking with COVID for the minute. People like me who've got asthma under control aren't going to be a priority for the COVID vaccine. Which, to be honest with you, I don't have an issue with. I genuinely don't have an issue with it. Come on, guys. There's 9 people watching. There's only 2 people talking. Come on, get your conversations in, guys. And it's just. But at the same point, if you're managing with it fine, you don't have any respiratory issues as over the last 12 months, you're pretty much going to be okay. Because that's for me, as I say, I'm slightly asthmatic. Technically, I should be wearing one of those badges saying that I don't have to wear a face covering because of the condition I've got. But I don't do it for my sake. I do it for other people's, because you never know. I could be asymptomatic. You really don't know. Gary says, okay, is there any players you would potentially take from sides going down? I'll take McGoldrick. I know he didn't have a decent game against us on Monday night, but McGoldrick, 100% I'll take him. I wouldn't mind having Loftus-Cheek on loan next season. I genuinely wouldn't. Gary says his head is, but he has a dodgy ticker. Exactly, better priorities, mate. Who else? Where are we? Lookman. I wouldn't mind having Lookman in the midfield. Bring the age down a little bit, especially if we're going to be selling Lanzini. I'd take Lookman. I genuinely would. Who else? There's nobody else I can really think of. From a Sheffield United point of view, West Brom. From Sheffield United and Fulham point of view, I should say. West Brom. Nobody really springs to mind. I don't think. Good players in all 3 teams at the bottom at the minute, but it's I can't see anybody improving. I can't see anybody improving West Ham. I generally can't out of the bottom 3, which I never thought I'd ever say before. John says if the Toon go down, he's supporting West Ham. And he also says I would take the goalkeeper from Sheffield United. Yeah, he's not bad, to be fair, mate. He's not bad. Andy Milesy would take the West Brom goalkeeper. Yeah, especially bearing in mind Fabianski's only got a couple of seasons left in, and regardless of his age, his contract situation, he's only got a couple of years back. Gary, you know the answer to that. Of course, I'd take Grady back. The club never would. The club won't buy a player they tried to get rid of a season ago. It just won't happen. But as I said in the time, he should never have been sold when he's a player that's had all the potential of Ben Rama, who was basically his replacement. Ben, good evening, mate. Hope you're all right. Now lifting it's interesting to see. John says, "I'll take Carlos Pereira from West Brom." I've not really been too impressed with him myself, but then again, I've only seen him play once, so I can't really say. Um, but yeah, and also Prime Minister Johnson has come out today and said that lifting the lockdown restrictions will be on data. It won't be on the dates. So even though the plan was to get us back into the tiers for. Oh, Andy Masters giving us a fiver. Thank you very much, mate. Usual beer on me, sir. Cheers. Thank you, fella. Much appreciated. As you can see, we get a little icon that pops up here if you donate anything, or if you become a new subscriber, and you have your notifications available. Because we haven't had anybody subscribe according to the details over those 14 days. I know we have. It's just it just won't come up because. But thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated, Andy. By the time I actually get it through from Google, because they take a whacking chunk out of super chats, it will be about enough for a beer. Well, an old school beer anyway, an old school beer price, shall we say? But thank you very much, mate. It's always appreciated. And it is the beer fund. I'm going to say the biscuit fund, like Gio and Gonzo says, but yeah, it's in the beer fund, mate. Thank you very much appreciated. Now, as I say, because the lockdown restrictions are going to be available, only going to be reviewed on data and not the dates. It was nice to see that it was just about 10.25 new cases, 10.25 new cases of COVID over the last 24 hours. So it's good. It's good from that side of things. But at the same point, I mean, obviously, because they're planning on allowing kids to go back in returning for the juniors going back to schools from Monday in Scotland. So I'm guessing the government are going to see the UK government are going to see how that gets on, and then introduce that into England, into Wales, etc., in the coming weeks and the coming weeks, quite frankly. Even though it is talked about that we're going to have. Even though it looks like we're going to have walkarounds coming out in March, at the early March, we can start going for walks again properly in parks and stuff for the beginning, the first or second week of March. So things are looking bright, but we're not there yet. As I said last week, we're far from there yet. Malden Hammer, welcome, mate. Good to see you back again. What do you think of Mike Oxmel's Grim? Never heard of him, son. Never heard of him. So let us know who he is and who he plays for, I should say, because never heard of him. Now, I'm glad you guys are in here. And he says the cases, of course, are going to go up after kids go back. Just hope it's not another lockdown. Well, it's a phase return. This is the thing. They're all doing it on phases. So if the numbers do spike, then the logic would be that the fact that they'd have to take the kids out of school again. But I mean, it makes complete sense to try and get the juniors into school first. But as I say, bearing in mind, Andy, this is purely Scotland. It's purely Scotland, so it's not happening here for a good few weeks yet. But we'll have to wait and see. Now, I'm glad most of you guys that are in here that were in for the doing the Sheffield United watch along. So, guys, now that we've had a bit of time to process it. What do you think? What do you think about Monday night's performance? Now that we've calmed down a little bit, and we're not really going gung ho on the fact that we're fifth in the table still. I'm very, very tempted to release a limited edition T-shirt line, but we'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, no, it's. For Sheffield United, I thought they were. I did say at the time that Sheffield United played decent football, but I watched extended highlights last night, and they didn't. They weren't playing all that well. We just sat back and gave them way too much respect. Quite frankly, I genuinely think we did. I really think we did. But that's our nature. But we came away. Two very good. Well, three really good goals actually. Nice clean sheet. Fabianski made some great saves. We kept McGoldrick quiet. We kept a few of the Sheffield United attacking force quiet. It's terrible from that side of things. But and what I'm saying terrible is what John's saying. He says, I've not seen my mother and father since Christmas Day because of the bloody COVID, and I miss them, John, mate. I'm sure you do. I do. You know, I miss my family as well. I miss them all. I miss them all. Every single one of them. Even the people I don't get on with, I do miss them. And it makes you think. Makes you think. And he says, a professional performance on Monday night. Only downside for me was Lanzini and set pieces. I know we scored from one, but we have wasted a lot. Yeah, you know, Creswell, as I said at the time, Creswell was bloody terrible with his free kicks over the last couple of games. And a couple of his corners as well, for that matter. Gary says, this could be our best season ever. Gutted I'm not over there. Well, mate, we all are. You know, just... The bigger picture is we're all gutted. We haven't been able to attend a football game for 51 weeks. 51 weeks. You know, that's the thing. The last game we were able to do was Arsenal away, and I'm glad I went to see that game. Not really glad with the result, but but at the same time, guys, you know, it's been almost a year since I've seen my footy mates. I kept in touch with them, of course, but. John asks, would West Ham bring Felipe Enson back next season? Well, they have to, because he has to come back after his loan. But are you saying in bringing back into the squad as a player? I don't think he will. Way, Luke's in. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Andy, do you own a brewery? I think Luke's saying there. Beers all around every channel. He's got money to spare, mate. He's got money to spare. Well, good to see you, Luke. Hope you're keeping all right, mate. Give us your thoughts on the Sheffield United game. We're just talking about it now. I know you did your couple of minute cinema vision with the black bars up like that, saying, "Hi guys, it's me." It was quite cool. But yes, let us know what you thought about it in general, mate. Gary says, "I'm so glad I was there too. Went to the pub near thereafter." Gary, as I was in the what was it? It was in the pub where all the Hammers congregate. That was quite a nice pub. That. James Fever, hello mate. Hope you're keeping all right. And he says he's only beers all around only for the ones he likes. Well, thanks, Milesy, mate. That generally does mean a lot. It really does mean a lot, because you guys, like Luke says, you know, because he nicks some of the things that I say, so I'm going to nick some of the things that he says. And you know, and I've said it for a while. You know, you guys genuinely do make this channel. You really do make this this channel. And which is the reason why these live chats keep going all the time. Is because trying to do them as much as possible. You know, that's the thing. Because you don't, if nobody was interacting, then we wouldn't have these live chats, and it's you guys that keep the channel going. And especially, you know, same thing with the watch-alongs. I mean, I enjoy doing the watch-alongs. They're great fun. Luke says, brilliant professional performance. John asks, when are you back on after tonight, John, mate? I'm doing a live broadcast of the Fantasy League roundup tomorrow lunchtime. And then the preview for Spurs at home is going up. It'll be up on Thursday, probably Thursday evening for the Patreons, and then on Friday lunchtime for everybody else. And then obviously on Sunday we've got the Spurs watch along. So hopefully Luke's going to join us if he can. If his missus lets him out of the box for a couple of hours, he should be able to join us. So that'd be quite cool. So hopefully we'll be able to use the same format as well, because hopefully I've got a decent way of setting it up now. So it'll be interesting. What's that? Luke's trying to sing. These are the champions, my friends. James Fever says, thoughts on Sheffield United game? We played okay, and what you make of Bowen and Lingard. Now, I'm glad you said that, James, asked that question, because we talked about this, me and Luke, and I think young Jake from West Ham Unofficial, who's live at the minute, we talked about this yesterday. A lot of people have been getting on Bowen's back, and I can understand it too. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it, because he had a good game, but he didn't have a good game, but he didn't have a bad game either. He had a relatively a relatively average performance, shall we say. No, the Champions League theme. Okay, sorry, I couldn't tell because it just came through as that. Okay, so you honestly, can you go 24 hours, mate? Seriously, look, can you go 24 hours? I'm not singing that. I can't get my balls have dropped too low for me to get to those levels, mate. Your bloody clickbait Champions League card the other day. Where are we? So, and he says a lot of channels have been amazing and kept me sane over the last year, and I only subscribed to you just after the summer. So thanks, mate. Thanks, much appreciated, mate. Yeah, it was about the summer when I started doing all this stuff. He's on that Champions League train. Well, mate, just get ready to pull into the siding. I hate to say it, but going back to John, what James was asking earlier, about thoughts of Lingard. I thought he was brilliant. I really thought he was great. His pace is incredible. The style of play he uses, and this is one of the things I also wanted to bring up with you guys as well. There's an article on HITC. Now, I don't usually read this article, but they've quoted a lot of tweets from different fans, and they're mostly Blade fans. So this is quite entertaining. One supporter there, Barto, said, "We've made Jesse Lingard look like Thierry Henry tonight." I love that. I think that's a brilliant one. Martin Hodder says, "Spend dollar equals Lingard. Don't spend dollar equals Norwood." I think that's a bit harsh myself. I don't think Norwood had that much of a too bad of a game. He's one of the hashtags he's put in there, which is quite funny. He says hashtag all over bar the shouting. James says he's downloaded the theme on Sunday when we win. Sporting View says this performance has angered me more than any other this season. Wilder's tactics and subs, Lingard running the show when Wilder number one target, gutless, toothless, and simply abysmal. All this and the Mousset is earning 40 grand a week to eat his Chinese at home. James says Lingard is levels above. He brings energy and pressing game was top class. Gary says, I saw the boys say at least we've got our own stadium. They acted like children. They did, man. They really did. Danny Hall says, a good insight into what United could have won tonight. Jesse Lingard is absolutely superb. One guy, Matthew Wilson, says, have a go at Lingard all you want, hashtag Twitter Blades. But if we're being honest, we'd rather be seeing him in a pink shirt tonight. Alex Holmes says, what a player Lingard is. Wish we had him at Sheffield United. Nick says, by the way, all the hashtag Twitter Blades that were piping up saying Lingard would be a terrible signing, give your heads a wobble. Absolutely, man. Completely give your heads a wobble. They used the... I said when the rumours broke that he's a good player. He's not the long-term fix, but I would generally try and get him in the summer if we could. Again, as we talked about yesterday. Michael says, I hope the Prince is watching because he should hang his head in shame. Lingard is quality. Once again, will Wilder left bemused. Now, what you're saying about the Prince is the Sheffield United are Sikh owned, I should say. Andy says, for me, everyone has been saying it. His time at Man United is up, and I do feel he will sign in the summer. I as I said to Luke yesterday, I genuinely think that if we put a bid in and he enjoys the next 14 games, and he knows people here, we stand in a very good chance of getting him, especially with his 12 months coming up as well. John says, will West Ham sign Lingard in the summer? We'll have to wait and see, mate. I'm not going to make any predictions because I don't know the ins and outs. I really don't. I'm not in the know, but it'd be nice, of course. James Feather says, I will say we scored the goals at the right times. 5 minutes before half time and 10 minutes after half time. We played well, but Spurs is going to be different because they will turn up versus us. So of course they will, mate. Yeah, it's a London derby, and they're always tasty games. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Gary's been a bit cheeky and saying who needs strikers? Ask Man City, mate. They've got much more quality in their side than we do. That's why they don't really need a striker. But that's they are trying to bring one in on a free, from what I'm understanding, from what I've been reading recently. What else? Ben says, or no, actually, sorry, no. John says, or West Ham can have Andy Carroll back in the summer. Oh dear, mate. Oh dear, oh dear. Come on, don't be. Come on, he's not that bad. He's not brilliant, but he's not that bad. Ben says, Lingard has always had great ability. You don't play for Man United if you don't. Exactly. Smart signing for Moyes. Agreed. Barry Beard, welcome back, mate. Ain't seen you for a while. Would you spend all the transfer monies on Lingard? That's what he could cost. Really? He could cost 90 million quid? Nah, mate. Come on, be serious. But Barry, all joking aside, I'm glad you brought that up because again, Luke and I were talking about this over the last couple of days over in the Three Hammers, right? And we talked about this the other week as well. For the live chat where you know we got 122.3 or 4 million pounds from finishing where we did in the league table plus TV sponsorship etc without sponsorship money, you know, club sponsorship money, you know, we that's 124, right? We had a 30 million pound budget available in the summer, yeah. We spent net spend, i.e., money that was available in that pot. We spent 7 million. We spent £7 million after the signings and the sales. So the sales and the signings. We spent net spend 7 million. Right. So that's £23 million available. Apparently, he's got £60 million available in this coming window for January. I doubt it. I genuinely doubt it. So let's see. James says, what do you think we need in the summer as in players? How many and what positions needed? Well, James, I've said for a long, long time. Good evening, Walshy. Hope you're all right, mate. I've said for a long, long time that before we sold Allaire, I said in the summer that we need 2 strikers. We need 3 now. We need a decent left back. We need a couple of box-to-box midfielders. We're just about all right for defence. I'd sign Dawson in the summer. I'm sure everybody wants Dawson to sign in the summer. And maybe a right winger, an extra right winger. Yarmolenko's days are numbered. Bowen's, I know Fredericks can be back up there, but Fredericks is too injury prone. Bowen's we've been very, very lucky with Bowen. He's not had any injuries over the last 12 months, at least that I remember. But yeah, that's the thing. So those. So okay. So we're looking at a right back, a left back, 2 box-to-box midfielders, a winger, and 3 strikers. So that's 8 players. Where are we? So Barry asked, "Do you seriously think that's what Sullivan will give Moyes?" No, but that's what's available. That's the difference. That's the difference. Robert Singleton, hello mate. Hope you're okay. It depends on the squad. Where are we? Just disappeared off the screen. It depends on the squad we have at the end of the season. Agreed, Bob. 100%. Kieran, you need to put your notifications on if your alarm didn't go off. Sunshine. Good morning, mate. Hope you're right. Crichton's back. Hi, JP. Thoughts on Yuri Native? Not very funny. Very funny. You tried that last time. Very funny. Honestly, mate. Have you not got homework to do? Or it might be coming up to your bedtime soon, mate. Robert Singleton needs to get Moyles. Bobby, it's not Chris Moyles, the radio DJ. It's need to get Moyes' contract sorted. John says, "See you again, mate. Thanks for having me on here again, mate. You're welcome all the time, or any time." James says, "What do you think? What do you think of Frederick's winger debate? For me, it's a no. Thoughts on it? To be honest with you, mate, I would. I'd have him as backup for Bowen. Genuinely, really, really would. I've been saying starting for the last few weeks. Because he's much better. I've said it before. He's much better as a winger than he is as a defender. You know, he's not as defensively minded as we need him to be, and that's half the problem. It genuinely is half the problem. Kieran says he's still asleep. Ben says, do you think Antonio will go back to being a right winger? I doubt it, mate. I seriously don't. I can't see it. If we bring in a couple of really, really good two or three really good well, at least two decent strikers and a backup in the summer, then yes, there's a very good chance he could be there as a winger. But he'll be too used to what we'll play him as a number 10, I reckon. I don't think he'll ever be back out on the wings. He wants the goals too much. Fat fingers. Now, as I've always said, I will criticise David Moyes. Sorry, I will criticise David Sullivan and David Gold when they're being idiots, and I will praise them when they're not being idiots. David Sullivan's put up on the website that they're looking to help support non-league football team Hornchurch FC in their bid to try and get to the FA Trophy final, and fair play to him. Fair play to him. The article on the website says, where are we? So the Urchins have won 5 ties to reach the quarter-finals of the FA Trophy, the premier knockout competition for non-league clubs, including upset victories over National League sides Kings Lynn Town and Maidstone United. Situated in the Hammers heartland, just a few miles from the club's Rush Green and Shadwell Heath training grounds, Hornchurch has long held links with West Ham United and its fans, with the club close to Joint Chairman Sullivan's heart after growing up in the town. Now, there's a few other little bits of waffles. It talks about how we can support them as fans, etc., etc. And Sullivan's quotes are quite funny. It says, now just 2 wins from the biggest match in their history, Wembley final. Mr. Sullivan has made a sizable donation to the club. Well, they need $2,500 for hotel and travel costs, and Sullivan's whining about $5,000 for us to go through the next round of the cup. So that's the contradiction straight away. But anyway, it says, and I quote, I grew up in Hornchurch, and back then the local football club was in the Athenian League, and I remember going down to watch them play when I was a boy. As well as being a West Ham fan since I was 11, I have always been a big football supporter and someone who wants to help local clubs where I can. And I know many of my fellow Hammers feel likewise and went to watch their local non-league clubs when lockdown restrictions were lifted last year. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It was all over the papers, you dozy cunt. This match is a huge opportunity for Hornchurch, as they are only 2 wins from a Wembley final. So let's all get behind them and help an East London club lift the trophy. Well, maybe if you put your hand in your pocket, mate, and spent the money available, then you get your own East End club winning a trophy. Oh, that quote really irritates the hell out of me. James asks, Antonio's fitness on Sunday, is he worth risking? I wouldn't. Not to the starting 11, mate. He failed his late fitness test on Monday, so I wouldn't start him. I genuinely wouldn't start him. Ben Davis says, Hornchurch just down the road from me. Their stadium has a running track. It's in Upminster, ain't it? Hornchurch Ground. Yes, it is. Yeah. Technically, it is. It's just down the road. But yeah, so one thing I want to do with you guys, we've still got a bit of time, is we're going to go through the top 10 players, the top 10 scorers for West Ham this season. All right. So top of the pops, surprisingly, Thomas Souček, 8 goals, no assists, 27 games played. He's had 34 shots in the 27 games and scored 8 goals. Meaning his shot accuracy is 56% and his goal conversion is 24%. Not bad. Not bad. Almost 1 in 4 an attempt. Sebastian Haller, 7 goals in 19 games. 30 shots, 53% shot accuracy, 24% goal conversion ratio. That's interesting. He's not as bad as a lot of us have said. I mean, he has been because obviously he hasn't scored enough. His game to game ratio is almost 1 goal every 3 games. Not good enough for a striker. But that's not a bad return either, to be honest with you. It's not a bad return. Jake, welcome, mate. How was your live broadcast, mate? Did you have fun? Next player, Jared Bowen. 5 goals, 4 assists in 26 games. 33% shot accuracy and 24% goal conversion ratio. Jared Bowen has had 21 total shots so far this season. 21 and has scored 5. So again, not bad. Just guys, relax. I'm going through it. Good evening, Jeremy. You're spot on time, mate, because you've missed me dropping the C-bomb because we were talking about Sullivan earlier. So well timed. Michail Antonio, 5 goals, 3 assists in 16 games. 61% shot accuracy, 18% goal conversion ratio, 28 shots he's taken. He's had 28 shots. 5th on the table. And Jake, mate, I think you're gonna have to. I think you're gonna have to eat your words here, fella. Yarmolenko, 3 goals, 4 games in 20. 3 goals and 4 assists in 20 games. 43% shot accuracy, 14 total shots, 21% goal conversion. 20 games, 3 goals, 4 assists. In 14, where are we? In 14 out of 14 shots. That's not bad. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad. Oh, Jake, what have you done to your channel, mate? What happened with your chat? Andy says, I think it would be against Doncaster, to be honest, and Charlton. Yeah, this is all competitions. Yeah, never said it was Premier League only. This is all competitions. Pablo Fornals, 3 goals, 2 assists in 24 appearances, 48% shot accuracy, 21 shots on target. So it's 21 shots total and 14% goal conversion. Craig Dawson, 3 goals, no assists, play out of 11 games, 33% shot accuracy and 33% goal conversion, 9 shots. So 1 in 3 for Craigie boy. Bobby Snodgrass is still on the list because obviously he's still a West Ham player as far as the season's concerned. 2 goals, 1 assist in 6 games, 57% shot accuracy, 29% goal conversion, and 7 shots. This is all available on the BBC website if you wanna know. Jesse Lingard, 2 goals, no assists in 3 appearances, 88% shot accuracy, 25% goal conversion, 8 shots. And Ogbonna, 2 shots, no assists in 2 goals, no assists in 25 appearances, 30% shot accuracy, 20% goal conversion, and 10 shots on target. 10 shots. So that's not bad that's not a bad top 10, to be honest with you. But yes, mate, James, Yarmolenko is 5th. I'm just putting myself up off the floor. So I read it out before it came out, mate. Crichton saying, why ain't they letting Lingard take any set pieces? I would have felt more confident of him scoring than Rice or Quaswell. Well, the free kicks, I agree with you, but he's playing as a false number 9, mate. It's not a good idea to. He took a corner, so I don't know what you're talking about. He took a corner, which is halfway through the second half. So he is they're setting things up. He's available. It's the instructions of who's taking what. And I said at the time when he took the corner in the second half on Monday night, why is a striker taking a corner? I've never liked that. Even what was it? Van Persie used to take the corners for Arsenal, and used to irritate the hell out of me. Kieran says, "What's Soufal's stats for scaring people?" It's a good question there, Kieran, man. It's a good question. I'd probably say at least there must be at least 15 shots a game, eh? Shots with his eyes. Crichton, I'm going to ignore that. It's got nothing to do with West Ham. Dun, dun, dun. And he says, remember when Harry Kane took corners and free kicks for England? Exactly my point, mate. Exactly my point. Kay Martins, welcome. You're looking like a throwback 70s footballer right now. Nice to see you too. All intended. All intended. This is my look. Don't know what WFT means. James, question: who has been your top hammer the season so far? Soufal has been great. He has. It's a toss-up between Rice and Ogbonna for me, mate. It genuinely is. Soucek with a very, very close third. Very close third. But set pieces are corners, Crichton. That's the whole point. So you've contradicted yourself. Ben says mainly Grealish. Came out and all that worrying at the start of the season. Yep. Oh, thank you. Mol Pizarro, thank you very much. You got us to 1,750 subscribers. Thanking you. Very, very much appreciated, mate. Might have to change that animation a little bit. Because it's a bit dodgy. But thank you very much for subscribing. So, and Marsley being the wind-up merchant that he is, says Alaire for me. But Kay, you're absolutely right. We all panicked. I said at the start of the season, when the fixtures came out, I said I can't. As the squad stood at that time, because I don't think we bought Soufal in at that point, or we might have done. I can't remember. But we didn't know how. None of us knew how Soufal played, so we can't really say. But I said no more than 37 points at the end of the season. I tipped us to be in the relegation fight, like everybody did. In case it's top four now, we're fifth at the minute, but we were top four Monday night. Look after J-Lings for us. Yeah, see, typical Man United supporter only looks on the table to find out where they are. No, doesn't look about wherever anyone else finishes up. But Ben says that you'll have nightmares for years about him. Grealish will. Yeah, 100%. James says, who disappoints you this season so far? Crichton, if you're going to be that belligerent, mate, please leave the chat, because set corners, free kicks, and penalties, and etc., they're all set pieces technically. So if you can't show respect, go and try and annoy somebody else, because it's not going to work with me. For James, the player that's disappointed me so far this season. He's not here anymore. He's not here. Ben says, I didn't, John. I thought we would be qualified for a year. Yeah, all right, mate. But no, the disappointment, I say Alaire was the biggest disappointment so far this season. So obviously he's gone. The current squad, to a degree, Lanzini. To a degree. Yeah, to a degree, I'd say Lanzini. Yarmolenko's been a little bit disappointing as well, just mostly because of his recovery from his injury. I have to change that back because somebody's unsubscribed tonight, which is fine. Not a problem. It's still 7. So there we go. But yeah, it's... I can't say anybody... Nobody really has genuinely disappointed me across the whole season because of the play... No, there isn't. I've criticised players individually for games, but Nobody considering all the time. Grant says, yeah, but you said it's not a good thing that he's taking corners. I agree. I want him to take free kicks, not Rice or Creswell. Is that okay with you? So, yeah, but you said, why isn't he taking set pieces? He didn't. And as I said, well, that was the contradiction, mate. It was because the corner is a set piece. And then he said, no, that I don't understand it. So please explain how I don't understand when you've just said exactly what I've just said. James Service says Bowen. Yes, I agree, Andy. Where are we? So, James says, for me, it's been Bowen. Should have assisted and had a couple more goals. Yeah, I agree with that. But his performances overall, mate, have been okay. They haven't been bad, but they've been all right. They haven't been great and they haven't been bad. They've just been relatively average. So it's not really disappointment. I don't put any player up on a I don't want to put him up on a pedestal like everybody else has. I always say you have to give him a full season before you permanently judge him. And Bowen hasn't disappointed me because he's come in and done exactly what I've said. The only problem is, as Crichton said a few months ago, was because I looked into the stats and I've been waiting for him to come back in so we could have this conversation. And he was absolutely right. Bowen has been the highest substituted player so far this season. Absolutely has. He's been taken off. He's been taken off more than he should have done. And Moyes has come under criticism, but that's no reflection on Bowen as a result. So it's tricky because he's not played a full 90 minutes for more than 4 or 5 games. But yeah, I'd say personally, I mean, I can understand why other supporters have been disappointed with him. But yes, you are very picky, mate. You are very picky. Said I'm being very picky and I wasn't expecting Lanzini and Yama to get them off the wages and bring in hungry players. Agreed. And he said, yeah, and I said I hold my hands up to it, mate. I said I would look into it. I said I didn't say no, that was it and end off. I said I'd look into it. So yeah, because at the time I thought you were wrong, but I looked into it and you were right. So there we go. K Martin says asks, would you take Jay Lings on a permanent deal, and if so, how much would you pay? I would take him on a permanent deal if he performs the way he's been doing so far. I know he got under a lot of criticism against the Fulham game, but he didn't have much to work with in that game. And as a result, if he continues in the vein of form that he's playing at the minute, 100% take him. 100% take him. But no, that was Mol Pizarro's followed on Facebook, apparently. That's interesting. So this is being broadcast on Facebook. Sweet. Good. But yeah, but how much would he pay? If you didn't have 12 months on his contract, 30 odd mil, I'd probably go. I'd put in a 10 to 15, maybe 15 to 20 bid, because he's on his last 12 months. Kieran says, Noble hasn't disappointed me. He hasn't scored a penalty yet. Kieran, shut up. We've only had one. It's taken 24 games for us to have a penalty, but... James says 15 to 25 million for him. Maybe 30. Not with the 12 months left on his contract, mate. I generally can't see it. If it was a couple of years, then yeah, I'd say 25 to 30. But with a year left on his contract... yeah, I'd say probably 15 to 20, maybe max. But here we go. Who knows? But yeah, it'd be interesting. Very, very interesting on that one. See what happens with that, because I genuinely do like him. Now, guys, I want to see you get your thoughts. I've got 10 minutes left. I want to get your thoughts on Ravel Morrison, the podcast that you did with Rio Ferdinand. For those that don't have Twitter, and haven't watched Luke's video that you put up about it, it was a bit grainy and a bit difficult to listen to. But Ravel Morrison was going through all the stuff, and there's a big article about it on BBC as well. Basically, Morrison was saying that he feels he was harshly treated by Allardyce. But at the same point, he does admit that he's made many mistakes, and so I kind of get the inferring from that he does regret what he's done. He does, as the BBC article also goes on. BBC Sport article also goes on about him stealing football players' boots to get money on the table, food on the table while he was a scholar. Um, I kind of think it's all. Ben, if you're on, because if I remember correctly, Ben, you're on Twitter as West Ham for Life, aren't you? Go on to Rio Ferdinand's account and tweet and have a look at the tweet that he put up. It's a minute. There's a couple of minutes tweet, the clip of the video. Crichton says he seems a bit simple. Most footballers are, mate. If to be honest with you, no disrespect to anyone in football, but most of them are. But saying that he had to steal Rooney's boots, Rio's boots, and sell them so he could get food on the table, I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration. I'm not saying he didn't do it under any circumstances. I just think maybe his head was not in the right place and was spending his money elsewhere. A scholarship deal isn't that great, but I think he's kind of, and you can see in the video that he's upset. He's genuinely upset about it, because I agree, the way Allardyce treated him was 50% of how he treated Allardyce. Quite frankly, not going over to his agent, I don't think is relevant. More the fact of just his attitude. I mean, even when we signed Morrison from Man United, Ferguson said he's a talent, but you've got to look after this kid because he's very unstable. And Allardyce got the best out of him. It just, his attitude wasn't there. The right attitude, I should say, wasn't there. That's the problem. Where are we? James says, Ravel Morrison's a talented kid, but look at his attitude that lets him down. As I've been saying, he's never in a club too long. He did say that after we went out on loan to QPR, and Allardyce said that he didn't have a place in the team. Apparently, he phoned up Harry and said, "Can I come back on a permanent deal?" And I said, "Well, we've tried, but the club aren't allowing it." And then he moved on to wherever he moved on to. But Ben, you're absolutely right, mate. His goal at Spurs was amazing. It was a beautiful game. That's the only season we've gone with Spurs. We played them twice in the league and once in the League Cup, and we came out the victors on every single game. That was unbelievable that season. Cases, you can tell he was focused on football as a kid. He needed more education from that. Just from that interview. Yeah, agreed completely. And Milesy says, Rav has so much talent for me. It's just a shout. I think it means it's more of a shame if he's not got a club. I would get him training again with us. Moyes and the coaches could turn him around. Yeah, he seems to be more mature this time round. Seems to be a lot more mature this time round, and so possibly he will listen to him. And James is just reiterating what Ben said earlier about the goal at Spurs. Ravel's goal versus Spurs was a great memory. It was. I was with my girlfriend when that game was. I wasn't there, but I was with my girlfriend and I was getting messages on my phone. And so when all the goals came in, I was jumping around like crazy. And my girlfriend at the time, she was going, "What the bloody hell are you doing?" Because the phone was going off all the time with updates and stuff. It was incredible. And he says, I remember the Fulham game at home when him and Joe Cole were amazing that day. They were, mate, 100%. Completely agree with you. Where else are we? And also, there's one final thing before we put it up to you guys to talk about. So, I know you've been asking your questions anyway, but we've got 5 minutes, so ask me any more questions if you want, or and also everyone else. If, for example, James or Andy or Ben puts a question in, answer his question. Because it's the whole point. It's a conversation with everybody, and that's including the 19 people that are currently watching. Thank you very much, guys, for sticking with me this long. It's been fantastic. It'd be nice to get some more people involved in the conversation. But apparently, Levy Lane, who's a centre back for Arsenal, is on trial at West Ham. He's a 17-year-old player. Where are we? He was in action for. He was playing against Arsenal in the under-18s game, so that's quite entertaining. And he's also was in the team for the Aston Villa at the under-18 level as well. Now I don't know all that much about this kid, if I'm honest with you. I really don't know all that much about him. So I've had a look, and there's not much detail, obviously, because he's a junior, and it's difficult to find out. But this is where we need Kent. This is generally where we need Kent at the minute. But yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what happens with that. If we take him on, and he's a one for the future. If I remember correctly, he's a centre midfielder, but he's been playing in defence, if I remember right. So that'd be interesting. And he says, taking Lanzini's goal away, what is your goal of the season? That's a very, very good question, fella. Very, very good question. Personally, for me, I'd say Lingard's first. I think Lingard's first. It's difficult. It's hard. But the ones impress me. James says Antonio versus City, great goal. Agreed. So, either Souček's brace. I think yeah, it's hard. I genuinely can't narrow it down. I really, really can't narrow it down. Roberts James says, question for you all. Do we need to take a look at a new goalkeeper, and if so, who would you like to see? I agree with Kieran Ariola. I would take him. I would get him on, bring him in. Nick Pope as well, and Wolves' goalkeeper. James agrees with me. Pope wasted at Burnley. Agreed. Andy says Fornals against the Foxes. Yep, fair point. Yep, brilliant assist from Creswell for that. Absolutely amazing assist. Kieran says Allaire versus Palace. Yeah, I'm not impressed with those FIFA style kicks, mate. I know you. Before you say it, I know you're of the generation that don't play it, but I'm not impressed with kicks like that. Especially bearing in mind they said they used to score those sort of goals all the time as a kid. I'm more impressed with a technical goal rather than something that's flamboyant. But it's a fair shout, mate. It's a fair shout. Jordan Green, welcome, mate. Did you hear the Moose on TalkSport saying the reason we are doing so well is because the fans are not let in? I didn't. We talked about this yesterday. I was asked about it, but I don't care what the Moose says. He's not a West Ham supporter. I don't care what he says. But because I read the quote saying that it was no atmosphere is better than a toxic atmosphere. Jog on, son. Jog on. Mark, you know full well you're not on time, mate. We're coming to the end as usual. Did you not put your clock back? Andy says Allaire versus the Blades. James says, final question from me. What two strikers would you like in the summer? I don't know. I don't follow other teams close enough. I generally don't know other teams enough. I'm not a football addict. I've got too much time I haven't got enough time on my hands to sit there, unfortunately. Robert Singleton says Yarmolenko's goal against Chelsea. Yep. Kieran says, Mark, you're later than me. Yeah, well, to be fair, Kieran, you came in only a couple of minutes late, not almost a bloody hour late. Ben says, have you listened to Antonio's interview that's on YouTube? Which one, mate? He's done a few over the years. He's saying about On the Judy podcast. Highly recommend listening to it. If it's the On the Judy podcast you're talking about, yeah, because we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Very interesting, very good conversation, and being introduced with a mate of his as well, for that matter. Yeah. Right. Well, where are we going next? It's like we follow each other in the comments on different channels. We do, Gary. We do. That's the great thing about the West Ham community which is what it is. It is literally a community. We all go and follow each other. We all talk to each other on a regular basis. It's good, and I'll absolutely love it. But guys, thank you very much for your time. It's always been a pleasure to talk to you as always. If you have enjoyed the conversation, apart from me stuttering every few seconds, please do hit the like button. For those that are watching the replays, I haven't said this for a while, but I will say for those that are watching the replay, if you got anything that you want me to bring up in next week's one, then by all means put it in the comments, and I'll definitely do it. Ben says hammers shots. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're enjoying what we're doing, then by all means please do hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell, which includes you, Kieran. Hit the notification bell, and Mark for that matter. Hit the notification bell so you know when we know it's going up, and you, Jeremy, for turning up late. All you guys that have turned up late and you subscribed, by all means please do hit the notification bell. Kieran says, my 60th birthday, don't mention it, JP. Well, don't put it in the chat then, you silly sod. But yeah, guys, enjoy the rest of your time. As I say, on Thursday, tomorrow lunchtime will be the Fantasy League Roundup broadcast. I'll be recording the preview for the Spurs game tomorrow, so that'll be up on Friday for YouTube, for the YouTubers, for YouTube community. The Patreons will see it tomorrow. Mark says bell hit. As long as it's not the bell end, that's good. And of course, guys, we'll be live on Sunday for the watch along from 12:20. So get up there. Peach, welcome. You're even later than Mark. We're just wrapping up, mate. But it's always good to see you, fella. But yeah, thank you very much for your time. And again, Andy, thank you very much for the fight for the skydiver, and Mole Pizarro for following the account on Mark, for following the account on Facebook as well. Thank you very much, guys. In the meantime, as I said, look after yourselves, and if I don't see you tomorrow afternoon, I will see you at some point hopefully on Sunday for unless anything massive breaks between now and the Sunday game. I'll see you guys on Sunday. All the best. Take care.